What's up, guys? Welcome to a very special episode of the Game Plan Pod, where today we have guest Perry Williams, former New York Giant, two-time Super Bowl winner. Perry, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's game time. Ready to rock and roll. Let's get it on. Let's get it on.
All right, so for the first question, can you just discuss your upbringing and how you got into football?
Oh, man, guys, I grew up with football. I started playing organized football when I was 10 years old. Down in North Carolina, where I'm originally from, where I still reside today, even though I'm up here in New York, but I work up here, as you guys know, at Long Island University. But I started out my little league days in junior Olympics and track and field, baseball, football. I kind of did it all a little bit when I was coming up. But I had a good friend of mine in class, his father was a little league football coach. He asked me, did I want to try out with the team? And I tried out, and I made it, and the rest is history.
So obviously you grew up in North Carolina.
Yeah. So
when you were in high school and when you were choosing what college you were going to, were you offered by North Carolina as well?
Oh yeah. The University of North Carolina, NC State. NC State was my favorite team.
I was going to say, what made you choose?
Well,
NC State and USC?
You're talking about sports, and let's talk about basketball for a minute. Basketball was a great legendary player that went to NC State. His name was David Thompson. He was All-American. He beat Bill Walton and UCLA Bruins in the national championships in 73, 74. And David, I got to know him, as a young kid. I met him and got his autograph, and I told him when I grew up someday I was going to come to NC State. And that really happened. And I met him when I was a little kid, 11, 12. And when I was 18, 19, I went off to NC State. My wish became a reality. Wolfpack country.
Yeah, so just let's talk about, in college you played two sports. You played football, obviously, and you played track and field. So
yeah.
Discuss how you started to drift away from track and field and why you went full-time for a football player.
Well, that happened when I ran track in Junior Olympics when I started at 10, organized sports, 10 years old. I ran track, I played football, and I played baseball. And then after my junior year of high school, guys, I was playing baseball. I quit baseball, so I said I'm going to concentrate in track and football. So when I went off to college in North Carolina State University, I had a lot of other offers. I had about 50 offers coming out of college, high school, I'm sorry.
Wow.
And so what happened was NC State said, we'll let you run track as well and play football. And that was one of the provisions I had. If you won't let me run track, I'm not going to come up there. So I ended up going there. And that's when my love for track was still in effect, and track and football. And I did it all the way out of my 4 years at NC State. Guys, I ran track 3 years, and I played football, obviously, 4 years. But then I kind of got away from track. And when I qualified in 1980, I qualified in the Olympics my sophomore year at NC State. And I was fastest man in the world, 200 meters at that time. There was a guy in the state of New Jersey, a guy named Carl Lewis, 9-time gold medalist in his career. He was a great, great track and field guy. And so I didn't get a chance to go to the Olympics trials in that 1980 year because we had a guy named Jimmy Carter, God bless the dead, former president. He boycotted America. So none of the American summer kids for the summer games was able to go. So when 4 years went by, another 4 years in which I was out of college then, and came out of college and came to New York Football Giants in 1983. Then 84, when they had the Summer Olympics, I was, my second year with the team with the Giants up here. So I never went back to track and field. Just watch it on TV. I'm still a big fan of track and field.
So if the NFL didn't work out for you, were you looking towards a potential, career in the Olympics?
Yeah, I would have tried to go back. Yeah, I would try to go back and qualify and try to go back. I ran 100 meters, 200 meters, but my top ranking was in the 200 meters.
So when was the track and field practice? Because was it overlapping with your football practices?
No, I didn't. No, during the all season, when football season was over in college for me, I ran indoor track and I ran outdoor track. So I didn't go through spring practice. I didn't go through spring practice at NC State football. So I just ran track, and then in the fall, August, that's when I went back to football.
And you did that throughout your entire career at NC State?
Yeah, 3 out of my 4 years. Yeah.
Very impressive.
And so because you had a lot of experience in track and field, and obviously made you a better athlete, made you faster, made you stronger. How else did track and field improve your skills as a football player?
Oh, acceleration. make up recovery time. As a defensive back, which I played in football all through high school. I was running back and a defensive back. And then in college, obviously, I played cornerback in college, defensive back. And then how it helped me in professional, just acceleration, the drill work that I do. I have a youth program that I put together, speed and agility program that I put together and teaching the young men and women, about acceleration, gaining your balance, explosion, acceleration, stuff like that. So it helped me tremendously. And it helped me, and from the injury factor. I never pulled a muscle, never had an operation, never broke a bone. So.
And not many players, don't get injured. So
yeah,
I bet
I got banged up now. Banged up. That's the nature of the game of football now.
So going to NC State, what was a work ethic that you continued on into the NFL that you were using in college?
Oh, my workout. I use my track workouts to get me ready for football season. All my workouts and track, all the interval training, sprints, and acceleration drills. I use that and it translated over to my football world, and it just worked like a charm. I could be in a game, say, for example, just using a quick analogy here, fellas. Say a receiver beat me off the line of scrimmage. I had that makeup speed. I could cover, recover. Just like that, I could recover. A lot of people, my time in the 40, when I came out in the draft in 83 from NC State, I was running 4.3. 4.3, and that was 40 years ago, fellas.
Yeah.
That's really incredible.
But in any event, now my fastest time I ever had in the 40-yard dash was 4.28.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a fast. Now I'm going back 40 plus years ago, fellas.
Yeah.
But they got all this new technology now. They got all this new dynamic stuff,
Yeah.
scientific stuff in the sports world. But I was old school. A little orange juice, a little apple juice, a little soda, every now and then, a little milk, and and just go get it, go make it happen.
So transitioning to the NFL, you were just talking about getting drafted. You were a 7th round selection in the 83 draft.
Yeah.
So walk us through, what it took you to get there, and how you felt after being drafted by the New York Giants.
Oh man, it was an amazing feeling. I wanted to get drafted. I was Mel Kiper, ESPN had projected Perry Williams, if you will, from North Carolina State to be a 2nd round pick, and so that didn't. Apparently, that didn't happen. But I was enthused. I knew that I was going to play football. I just had that feeling. I had that drive. I had that motivation, fellas, and it worked out. When I got drafted, when they said I was in the 7th round, and you waited, because back then it was 12 rounds in the NFL. Okay, so when they said 7th round, I got a call from the Secretary of New York Giants. He said Bill Parcells want to talk to you, which was his first year as a head coach in '83. Bill Parcells. And congratulations, you coming to New York. And I was like, New York? I was like, oh, man, that's cold up there. So that's the first thing that came to my mind. It's cold in New York, compared to North Carolina. But I was just happy to get a chance to get drafted by somebody. And I came up here, and my first year, I was on the team. I didn't get a chance to really play. But my last 10 years, I played. So it worked out.
So I'm a little unfamiliar with the draft process, during that time. Were teams able to speak to you? Were you expecting a certain team to have more interest than other teams?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. Well, I got a call that Sunday before the draft that particular year. Back then, the draft was on Monday and Mondays, and so that Sunday afternoon, I was home with my mother and my grandmother, and having a little dinner. The phone rang at the house, and my mother answered the phone and said, "A man from Seattle want to talk to you." So it was I can't tell you this man's name. I can't remember. But he was the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks at the time. And he said, hey, we want to get you up in the 2nd round and get you up here. And would you come to Seattle? I said, be more than happy to come to Seattle. I'll go and play in the moon if I have to. So, but nevertheless, he called, and I had Tampa Bay call me. That was even better, because Tampa Bay,
that's warm,
that was up my alley. It's only 8 hours, Tampa, Florida, from me in North Carolina, an 8-hour drive. And I said, that sounds good. I was happy about that. But when that draft came the next day, never called me. There was nobody else. And then finally, the 7th round, the Giants called and say, hey, we got you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
That's right. It was meant for me to come to New York.
Yeah.
That's it. It was just meant to come.
Being drafted by the Giants, having a lot of legends on that roster, all of the years you played for them, who, helped you and guided you the most on that Giants roster?
I took heave on Harry Carson was our middle linebacker Hall of Famer that played with us. He was our team captain on defense, and we just took him, took on to his disposition, his demeanor, his work ethic, all of those kind of things. I already had that, but it just kind of reinforced it for me. These guys out there, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be better than all of you. My mindset was I would be better shape than everybody. So I took pride in my 11 years with the New York Football Giants to be the fastest guy on the team and, be the best conditioned guy on the team. So I think Bill Parcells said it best. Maybe you guys may ask me this, but I'm telling you ahead of time, he made a quote to a reporter some years ago that I was the best conditioned athlete he had ever seen and ever coached.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, hard work does pay off eventually. Obviously, on the field, it showed off for you. And obviously, on the defense, it did eventually helping the team win 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So, like Peter just asked you, who motivated you the most? Who was the best player you would say you played with over your time with the Giants?
Oh, man, we had a lot of great players. But one of my boys that called me a lot, Curtis McGriff. Curtis McGriff, big defensive lineman, number 76 for the Giants in the 80s and early 90s. Curtis went to University of Alabama 3 times. In his 4 years of college, he won the national championship 3 times. And he won a championship with us in 86, 87 with the Giants. Greatest run blocker stopper I ever saw. He was like 6'6", about 300 pounds. He just terrorized people. Now, of course, you got Carl Banks, other great linebacker we had Harry Carson, we had Pepper Johnson, we had Lawrence Taylor. We go on and on. That's just the linebackers. I'm not even talking about the interior lineman besides McCurtis. Then we had Jimmy Burt. We had Leonard Marshall, all-star. So we had some guys who could play. These guys could play. It's not one, maybe you can play a little bit. These guys can play it on a consistent pace and play it at a high level.
Right.
And so that made everybody to go a step higher. We had great Lawrence Taylor, of course. We had him with us my whole 11 years with him. But we were self-motivated. LT didn't have to, rant and rave with which he did, and he played, like out of his mind and was great. But we all had our own demeanor, and my demeanor was I'm gonna get the job done. I don't have to have nobody trying to motivate me.
Right.
I'm self-motivated.
That's great, yeah.
So,
like you said, there's a lot of, Giants legends on that roster, like Harry Carson, Leonard Marshall, like you said. So having, so many legends, playing alongside you, it must motivate you, I could be better, I could do better.
Yeah.
And so just going back to, coaching, you were coached by Bill Parcells, you were coached by Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
So what was the key to that Giants defense that, might have been not seen by many?
The key to our success, everybody was accountable. Everybody was accountable. You've heard Bill Belichick say it probably over the years when he was in New England. It's an old phrase that he used, do your job. Do your job. It's this simplistic as I can tell you. Do your job and expectations. Know your role and execute. Don't try to do nothing special. Just execute your job and play at a high level at it. And we had lots of guys, obviously, in each position that had a role, what we call a role, R-O-L-E, to execute it. And with no excuses. If we made a mistake, if a guy made a mistake, hey, it's over. We call that short-term memory. Let it be gone. It's over. Let's keep playing hard. Don't worry about it. We was in many games and we weren't doing well in games over there, and I can remember. And then we finally get in the huddle and we trying to go over what's going on, Belichick, with this design, what was going on and what we have to stop. And then we just execute it. That's all it was. It's the will. I always tell your guys and girls this all the time, especially in the sports world. It's your will, not your skill. It's your will.
So based off what you're saying, Belichick, he didn't care who you were. He viewed everybody the same.
Yeah.
He looked at you the same, whether you were, starting on the practice squad. The same mentality for every single player.
Expectations, man. You guys, I'm telling you, it's expectations. And they've carried on. It's funny. I take you guys back a little bit from the pros. High school. I learned this stuff in high school. We had one of the best high school coaches in the history of North Carolina. He's in the Hall of Fame. My high school football coach, and he took no mess and nothing. Everything was expectation was you go and deliver. If you don't want to do that, then find something else to do.
Right.
And so everybody had to be accountable. And I had him and Harold Stewart and another coach. I had my mentor, Charlie Bishop. They mentored me. They worked with me. And everybody was accountable. We won the state championship my senior year in high school. So I knew what it took to become a winner. The hard work and the diligence. Some people don't know how to win. They can go out there and play and perform.
Yep.
But they don't know how to win. And see, that's what's on like Florida. I'm jumping around a little bit, fellas, but like the Baltimore Ravens, they ain't gonna never win until they learn how to win. They got all the talent in the world, but they don't know how to execute it.
And alongside, learning how to win, you also have to learn how to deal with losing.
Yeah. Well, I tell young men and young women like yourselves at the high schools, listen, never accept losing. Never accept it, fellas. Just learn how to deal with it. Because the sun goes shine another day. Yeah. And so you go out there and you execute. So when we lost, I wish I could tell you I won every game I ever played in every sport. Didn't never win them all. But I can tell you, I always tell my students at the university, at Long Island University, I won more than I lost. Just make sure you win more than you lose.
Yeah.
That's what brings you to the top. That's what makes you become a winner. Not only on the field, but off the field. You talk about that all the time, that peer mediation. You're talking about peer pressure. You're talking about motivation. And you're doing all these things in peak performance. It's up to you. It's in the mind. It's mind over matter.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow in my psychology class at the university. It's mind over matter. It's how bad you want it, how far you're willing to go. Yeah. What's the price you're willing to pay? Now, if you want to pay a little bit to get a little bit, then that's what you're going to pay. You can't take, I always use this analogy. You can't take a $30,000 money and go buy a Rolls Royce that costs $300,000. You pay for what you get.
You got to work for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you teach a sports psychology class, and obviously, more than anyone that football is not just a physical game; it's a mental game.
That's right. It's a mental game. Exactly. You got it.
I definitely can relate because I wrestle. Right. I always stick by something my coach tells me that no matter what happens in the match, even if you lose, don't react like you're pissed off or whatever. You should think to yourself, what am I going to do the next day to change those results so I like them better and do what's better for the team and myself.
It's called short-term memory.
Yeah.
You lost on that. Okay, well, you line up again the next week, and let's go get it. We're going to make it happen. And that's the one you find out who the true winner. The Kobe Browns of the world. God bless him. He passed away. Michael Jordan. How these guys? These guys are jerks or this or that. No, these guys were the winners. They wanted to win and was willing to pay go that extra mile to win, fellas. Everybody. I always tell people, winners are ordinary people with extraordinary determination. That's what winners are. Is willing to go that extra mile, willing to put in that extra time in the weight room or extra time on the wrestling mat, as you doing, big man, putting in an extra 30 minutes or extra hour compared to putting in a 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, and then until I'm going home. You put that extra, you working behind the scenes when nobody else would be willing to work behind the scenes. That's how I did it with me to have my success with the Giants. I would train 6 hours a day. Get up in the off season. Go to North Carolina. I go do my workouts. I go to the weights room at the gym. Then I go do all my speed running and then agility stuff. And after that, after I had a break, and then I take a nap in the afternoon, and I come back and I do my endurance running. And all that was combined when I went on the field, and it was on then.
And it paid off eventually. No pain, no gain.
No pain. Hey, fatigue will make a coward out of you. You know that? When you're out there, you wrestling, and you playing baseball, football, basketball, soccer, hockey, whatever you guys playing, hey, fatigue will make a coward. That's why you got to be in the top condition, the best of the best. And when you do that, then you got to change. You're going to get tired, but the way I saw it, fellas, when I was tired out there playing ball, say football, now that meant if I got tired, that means that guy about to die over there. Because I know I'm in better shape than he is. Because they won't put that extra time in.
So, talking about your rookie season, was there a welcome to the NFL moment, almost where all your talking about work ethic and the way you work, I'm not gonna say it was questioned, but somebody may have hit you a little bit hard, and you were like, oh crap, this guy works, I gotta work harder, and motivated you a little bit.
Yeah, it was a wake up call once for me. From my perspective, I gave somebody a wake up call.
Really?
And when my rookie year, we had a goal line scrimmage one morning in my freshman year, of my rookie year with the Giants, and it was like full speed. This is full speed tackling guys all over. This is live, as they call it. And I went out there, and it actually wasn't the play for me to make. But I saw the quarterback toss the ball, and the guy run out. And I'm on the right side of the field, of course, and on that short line, what they call goal line scrimmage. And I ran down the line of scrimmage full speed, and before he could turn up the ball, I hit him right smack on the side of his head, and knocked his helmet off. And even though it wasn't my play to make, but Porcells, I'll never forget it. Porcells came to me and said, "That's the way to make that freaking play."
Yeah.
Even though that wasn't your play to make, but I can tell you got hard, and that's when it started. And I challenged my own teammates. I used to try to kill my guys in practice. And I don't mean physically kill someone. I mean from a mentality of a mental mentality. I would work Stephen Baker. I would work Mark Bavaro. I would work Otis Anderson. All the different players that we had, we go at it in practice.
Well, you got to practice how you play.
Because I got to get you ready for the game. I got to get you ready. I was on the taxi squad, even though in practice, we flip-flop. The offense is installation. This is what the defense team for, say, Dallas do. This is what they doing over there. So I will give them a good look, even in practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's unheard of for, a cornerback in that position to play a whole decade of football, because nowadays – some players get lazy. Some players lose their strength.
There you go. Now you're talking about business now. Exactly.
Your work ethic really paid off. How you train. You said 6 hours a day. How you're motivated by others and how you motivate others, and that really paid off to how you play.
Now I'm gonna tell you what. That's a good point. That's a great point, there, my man. Let me tell you something. I'm just keeping it real, 100, what you guys would call it. I played hard like I did, and I worked like I did because I needed the money. I love the game, but I need to make a living.
It was your life.
My mother and my grandmother was taking care of me. I didn't have a father growing up. My mother and my grandmother, I have coaches as mentors, but my mother and my grandmother raised my mother's mother. And so we were struggling trying to make ends meet, okay? And that motivated me. I got to get here. Somebody go get this job. It just well be me. It's an old adage I say a lot of times, okay? Somebody got to do it, just well be me. Because the Giants going to pay somebody to play right corner. Somebody. Well, this will be my job. And so I took it as such. I was very serious about my
There's
work.
no better motivation than, people wanting to make the NFL, but some people's motivation is they need to make the NFL.
Got to make it happen. Some of them need it, but are you willing to go that extra mile? Are you willing to pay that price? I was willing to pay that price. And I wanted, not only did I love the game, but I wanted to win because I played the game to win. I didn't play the game to lose no game. I tried to win every time I went out there. Sometimes I came up short, of course. But, yeah, the motivation is I could help my mother and my grandmother, and I was able to do that. My grandmother passed away some years back, but nevertheless, I was happy that I was able to change our lives somewhat, a little bit more comfortable. I'll put it that way. But I was self-motivated, and I had pride. I just used the word pride for a minute. I had pride. I ain't let no wide receiver beat me off the line. You ain't beat me for no touchdown. You going to catch some passes, but I'm not going to give you I'll give you a statistic. You guys may not know this one. Most people don't know this, and the Giant land don't know this, and from the Giant fan base. In the 10 years, I didn't play my first year, but my last 10 years, I gave up 5 touchdowns in 10 years.
Wow.
That's one every other year. If I can calculate right. Think about it. I gave up 1 touchdown every other year. Now they made some passes, so they caught passes, of course, but I took pride in that. You ain't scoring on me. You might catch some passes, but you ain't scoring no bomb. I don't think I never had a guy to throw a 50, 60-yard bomb on me. I had that speed. I had that track speed.
There's a couple of current Giants cornerbacks that definitely need to adhere to that advice and definitely reduce the touchdowns they allow themselves. But talking about wide receivers, was there any wide receiver that gave you a tougher challenge compared to others?
Yeah, well, one of the great ones that I played against, and the old school guys like James Lofton, Green Bay Packers and Buffalo Bills. We played them in the Super Bowl. Great player. And then some people say, well, you biased. Mike Quick played for the Philadelphia Eagles, all pro. He and I from the same hometown. We went to high school together. He was a couple years ahead of me, and we also went to NC State.
Does that affect the way you play against, some players? Like you know them personally. Does that change your mentality going?
Yeah, I watched him. I practiced against him in high school. I practiced against Mike Quick in college. Now I'm going out here and play. I kind of knew his moves a little bit. I knew his acceleration, his
competitive edge against
that competitive edge. He was trying to get me. I'm trying to get him. I had to play against him 8 years because he retired. I think he got 9 years with the Eagles. He got in the league in 82, 81, one of them. But in any event, Art Monk, Washington Redskins, Washington Commanders now. Art Monk, great player, Syracuse University boy. He went out there. Roy Green, Jerry Rice. When you asked me, say Jerry Rice would be on the top. To me, Jerry Rice is a great player, but he wasn't the most complete player. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to crack down on them linebackers. He didn't want to block nobody. He didn't want to get dirty like that.
Every single player is good against, for example, obviously your speed is one of your top attributes.
Yeah.
Correct. And some players take advantage of maybe other things against certain quarterbacks. To which you felt that Jerry Rice wasn't as good as some of the other guys you may have played against.
Jerry Rice is a great player, but he didn't want to stick his nose in that heat.
Yeah.
He wanted to go across that middle. He didn't want nothing to go across that middle now. But the other guys I'm speaking of would go across that middle, and they was great players. And not taking nothing from Jerry Rice, he's a great player, but he didn't want none of that heat. Going across the middle like that. Yeah. And so, hey, it is what it is. Michael Irvin played Cowboys. He was good. He was a good player, outstanding player. Obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame. And, so with that being said, those guys right there, just to name a few. Yeah. I don't know how these guys, I would have played against these guys now that's playing now in the league, I guess, because I don't really watch a lot of pro football. But some of these guys, the guy from Philadelphia Eagles, that wide receiver number 11, Brown, I think he's a good player. Yeah. A couple other guys is out there. But
what do you think about Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors?
I think he'll be all right. Just keep his head screwed on tight and do the right thing. Don't let New York exploit him. Don't let him corrupt him. Because
so
New York City corrupt.
You think the media can definitely get to some of these?
Yeah, the media and then the life in general, and just New York in general. You've been in the streets, and because you're not gonna be 24/7 with the football when you're off the field and in your endeavors. You just got to keep your mind right. Keep your head clear and do the right thing, and don't get corrupt. Because you can't. New York is a city that never goes to sleep. This place stay up all day, all night. So you have to watch yourself with that. So
you mentioned Jerry Rice before. What was it like, dethroning Joe Montana and the 49ers in the NFC Championship game?
Oh, that was in 90, 91. Yeah, that was Joe Montana. People ask me who's the best quarterback you ever played against. I done played against all of them, all the Hall of Famers you can name in the era going backwards. Joe Montana was the best to me. Mm-hmm. He said, why would you say the best? He was like a surgeon. He nickel and dime. He sliced and diced you to death. Wow. And he would get you. He was that good. He wasn't no big guy. Joe Montana, maybe 6 feet, maybe 6'1", about 180, 190 maybe. But he had a heart of a lion. And see, it's hard to kill a lion when he got hard because he's coming. He's coming. And he's coming. And he's going to keep coming. Mm-hmm. And so, you find a person like that, then, you got your hands full. And we had our hands full. I played against Jim Kelly. Mm-hmm. He had a bomb. This guy was a cannon. John Elway, Dan Marino. You name them, I played them. And so.
And you think Montana is the best out of all of them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. To me.
So you think he just the way his heart?
His heart, his disposition.
Yeah.
His steel wheel mentality, just like a Wayne Gretzky that played hockey. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He wasn't that big, I understand. When he was in my era, everything was 6'1", 6'2", but he was the greatest. Just think of that, his mantra, the great one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just think about that, the great one.
Yeah.
That's when you got that nickname. So you don't think he was self-motivated? Oh yeah, I'm the great one.
Had to.
I'm the great one. He might not have been arrogant and cocky and braggadocious about it, but he knew he was the great one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so my thing was when I played, I'm the best one.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna outrun me on no
Yeah.
field. I can tell you that right now.
So you never let the names go.
Now, with you guys, and we ain't got time to do it now. We on air here, but you look up Barry Sanders' 50 greatest runs in the NFL, and you look on frame number 36. You're gonna see something. Barry Sanders' 50 greatest runs in the NFL, and you look at frame number 30. We'll look at it after we finish this tape here. 36. Well, I went and walked him down from 30 yards back.
Wow.
Now we're gonna see that later, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you guys see that.
Right.
Now that's what
Looking
you talk
forward
about
to it.
heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you talked about playing, Jim Kelly with the Broncos the Bills, and playing John Elway with the Broncos.
Yeah.
In both the Super Bowls, what was, the more gratifying Super Bowl win, beating the Broncos or beating the Bills?
For me, the Super Bowl 2021, when we won it in Pasadena, California, against the Denver Broncos, John Elway. Just be able to win it. I lived that dream all my life as 10-year-old.
The first one.
And then 14 years later, when I was 24, 25, my dream became a reality. I had been dreaming about being on TV and dreaming about playing in a Super Bowl. And I'll tell you the quick story about that. The toilet bowl. Did I ever tell you guys that story?
No, I don't believe so.
Well, when I was 11 years old, I told my grandmother, that one day I was going to be somebody. I said, we're gonna live a little better life someday. I said, well, I'm going to be able to get some things, and we all going to live good. And I told them that I was watching the game. I can't remember what NFL games I was watching that Sunday. I said, what there you see on the TV? And I was sitting on the living room floor. And I told my grandmother, say, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to win a scholarship. I'm going to go to college first. I don't know what college I'm going, but I'm going to go there. Then I'm going to get drafted in the NFL. And then from there, I'm going to be on TV, and I'm going to play in a championship game. I'm going to play in the Super Bowl. And my grandmother couldn't believe what I was saying. And she looked at my mother, and this truly happened. She looked at my mother and started talking to her on the couch. And she said, you hear this boy talking about he's going to be on TV, he's going to win a scholarship, which is great, and go to school, and then go play in the NFL and probably not play in the Super Bowl. So the only kind of Super Bowl that boy probably ended up playing in is a toilet bowl. And they laughed. Oh, man, they laughed. I was 11 years. I said, okay. So 14 years later, I was in my first Super Bowl.
Wow.
I called my grandmother back in North Carolina. She could not come to Pasadena because she was sick at the time. And she was so she wasn't well enough to travel. But nevertheless, that Saturday night before we played that game that next day, I called her at the hotel, my hotel room, talking about what it's like in California. There's good luck to you guys. Beat them good tomorrow. Beat John Elway. Make sure you beat him good and all that. And I said, I sure will, Mama. And then at the end of the conversation, guys, that night, I said, Mama. She said, yes, what is it? I said, what you think about that toilet bowl kid now? They're believing is achieving there, telling fellas. When you believe that you can achieve, you can do anything. You got me?
Yeah.
Anything. I'm telling you. Anything. You're looking at a living example. Where a person come from humble beginnings, didn't have much going on. And I made my way. I willed my way to where I am. I worked all them guys. I told you. I took pride in being the fastest on the team. In 11 years of New York football giant, no guy came in there was faster than me. 11 years.
Entire career.
The whole career.
Wow.
I took pride in it. I took pride in being on a team but I wanted to be accountable. See, when you guys play sport, everybody got their own role. You be accountable for your role. And then you execute, and then you consolidate that, and you put it together, and then cohesively, then you got your championship team.
Well, you play for the team on the front, not the name on the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to win. If I win, that means if you look good, that means I'm going to look good. If I look good, you going to look good.
Yeah.
That's how you win.
Right.
That's it.
Well, there's no
You don't have to be
Einstein.
Einstein to figure this stuff out, guys. You don't have to know Einstein to know the theory of relativity. This is about getting it in, making it happen. The will to succeed, the will to never give up. And that's it.
Yeah.
Pretty simplistic.
Giants. We hold the third pick in the draft this year. Are you familiar with any of the prospects?
Not really. I still watch him.
Well, Deion Sanders' son, Shadur Sanders.
Go where? You gonna be the quarterback for the Giants?
Colorado. That's a lot of the talk
Yeah.
in the media recently. Did you ever play against Deion Sanders? Or?
Yeah. He was, matter of fact, he was playing baseball when we played Atlanta Falcons, and he was in the league. I think he got in the league in 88, 89, but I never had a chance to see him on the field because he was playing baseball.
Yeah.
Then he came back to the team or whatever he was doing. I never saw him in person on the field. But I can tell you about what helped him with his speed, his so-called speed, which he had great speed, of course. He got that from track and field from Florida State. He used to train with the track team.
Wow.
See, but a lot of people don't know that.
So
he was sneaking. He was sneaking and training with the track team at Florida State when he was in college.
Wow.
And that's how he got that speed like it was. That speed kill you now, I'm telling you.
Hopefully, the Giants, draft Shazier, all the, everything that he learned.
Well, I guess that killed that with Deion Sanders. That killed the fact that he's not going to Dallas. Who got Schottenheimer or somebody?
Yeah. Their current, in last season, their offensive coordinator.
Okay, well, Deion got to worry about him going to Dallas. So,
Yeah.
Well, I wish John Mayer and the Tisch family. I worked for the Tisch family my last 2 years when they was there, bought the team. And I wish great success for them. I'm disenchanted when we don't winning because I get upset because I don't want to watch. But I think they'll turn it around eventually. It take a little time.
Yeah.
When I got here, they hadn't had a winning season in 21 years. I understand.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Back in the day, from the 60s up to the 70s to early 80s.
That was with Wellington, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, well, he was living there, Mr. Mara. Yeah, he was. I had him for my whole career. Then he passed away in 2006. But what a tremendous person he was. He knew football. His father bought the team. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like 1925.
Couple $100 or something.
$500.
Yeah.
Off of betting, gambling debt or something. Some crazy number.
Yeah.
But in any event, Mr. Mara, before he died, he had 80 years with the team.
Wow.
80 years. He started, his daddy bought the team when he was like 9 or 10 years old, back in 1925.
So are you as close to John as you were to Wellington, or not really?
I see John. I saw him last year. I went over there and invited me in and had a little lunch at the complex, and we had a little conversation. But Mr. Mayer was a special man. Mr. Mayer gave me my chance when he saw me. He wrote a letter to me when I retired. And it's out there on LinkedIn. It's out there on social media where he said, Professor Elizabeth, she got it. Sent her, screenshotted it to her. And he said to her, I just want to tell you, Perry, this is a reporting letter that he wrote me. I just want to let you know that myself, my family, my organization, and all the fan base want to say thank you for all your contribution to the team, how great you were playing with us. We're so happy that you played for us. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. Then he said, I remember in 1983, Bill Parcells walked up to me and said, you see that kid over there, number 23? Said, that kid going to play for you at least 10 years. And then at the end of the letter, he kind of put on there, he said, oh, how right he was, Giant for life.
Wow.
Wow.
Once a Giant, always a Giant.
Yeah, that happened. He wrote me a letter. Yeah. Now I heard that Mr. Mayer didn't write a whole lot of letters. He wrote letters, but I don't know to a lot of the athletes. I'm certain ones he probably wrote, but I received one. I received one from him.
That's awesome.
To reflect on your career, what would you say is like the proudest moment or game you've ever played?
Oh, winning Super Bowls, man. That's easy. Your objective is to play the game to win, and you play sports to win championship. I don't want to just play just to be playing. I want to try to win, try to be the best. It's not you have to be conceited or braggadocious about it, cocky. It ain't about that. It's about you go compete for a reason. I want to compete to win.
Yeah.
Try to be successful. Yeah.
Continue on your career. Would there be anything you would change if you could, or?
No, I wouldn't change, going being a 7th round pick to a projected 2nd round pick, can't miss 2nd round pick, where Mel Kiper once said, and it worked out. It was, as you guys said earlier, it was meant for me to come to New York. It was meant. It set my foundation, not just to play football, but my foundation and infrastructure to work with young people like yourselves. Okay, it's about paying it forward. It's about enlightening other people. and guys and encouraging guys like yourself, whether you play football or whatever sport you're engaged in, if you're involved in sport, you try to be the best that you can possibly be. Just trying to give you some tools that you can take and utilize and go out there and be effective and do some things in society. That's the key for me with young people. That's why I have my initiative that I have called the Make a Difference program. Then I got another one called, and that's on, talking about character building, life skill, on leadership and team building. I have the other one called FFD1, Focus from Day One Initiative. And I've gone around and since 1985, promoting and pushing those programs to the schools around, throughout the country. Actually, I did a project for the U.S. Army several years, about 10 years ago, and I had to travel to almost 40 major cities in the country, and I had to cover 3 million kids in 2 years.
Wow.
And so that's pretty much what my life has been like since I left the game of football. Love the game, but teaching the young men and women that I deal with, about being the best you can possibly be, character building, life skills, and working hard, having great work ethic, and all that. Because I know for a fact, I can tell you guys this. I know for a fact I made it as far as I did because of my work ethic and my attitude. I know that. I know that.
So one last question for everyone who's watching out there. What's something you would say to to anybody who like a piece of motivation or anything you have to say to them?
Motivation for me is believe that you can achieve. Some people can stay motivated for a day. I've met some who can stay motivated for a week. And I met quite a few who can stay motivated for a month or so. But true winners will stay motivated as long as it takes. That's what winning is about.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go Giants, baby.